The Last Emperor. The Last Emperor. Last Emperor.
The Last Emperor was a film directed by the Italian director Bernardo Bertolucci, who is known for adding vivid and sensual scenes to the films he makes. The Last Emperor film reached its peak when it won many Academy Awards during 1987. Such awards are Best Picture, Best Cinematography, and Best Production Design. He also awarded that The Last Emperor was the first Western movie and the first movie allowed by the Republic of China to be shot inside the Forbidden City. Further, when the number 10,000 was translated into Chinese, it can either mean only two things: the number 10,000 itself or infinity. Now, enough of that, and let's head to discussing the story itself. The theme of the story is about Puyi being able to change, mirroring the death of the past and the rebirth of the future, symbolizing that the only constant thing in the world is change. This can be seen through the change of actors portraying the roles of Puyi in different stages of his life. Him being the stubborn and selfish emperor, to a regular citizen whose point of view of the world becomes wider as time goes on. That type of the story is in medias res, as based from what you learned in grade 7, and medias res is a type of plotline where the story begins in the middle and the exposition is only filled by either flashbacks or dialogues describing the past. And this type of plotline is a good one, especially they are discussing history or the autobiography of the last emperor of China, Gyoro Puyi himself. It begins when Puyi tried committing suicide but was then saved by the prison governor. I also love this part of the movie as in where the camera started to focus on the eyes of Puyi, symbolizing that we are now entering his point of view of the perspective of the story. The story transitioned to the past when Puyi was only 2 years old as he gets crowned as the new emperor of China. Time goes by, Puyi became stubborn and the selfish emperor he is. However, he spent his childhood with his brother Pu Chi-ye, who introduced him what the world really is. That's why he is a major character. The one that made Puyi realize that he's only the emperor inside the Forbidden City, since outside of the Forbidden City, China is now a people's republic, meaning they don't follow the emperor anymore. The witness of Puyi, Armo, was the one who took care of him ever since the Empress Dowager summoned Puyi. Who would do everything as what a mother would do. Oh, lovely and precious scene. However, this all changed when the imperial household decided to remove Puyi from the custody of Armo, as they think that she was only a distraction to him. Puyi then got married not for love but for tradition. He did this to achieve his own happiness in an alternative way. Shown in the story that Puyi's greatest desire was to leave the Forbidden City, but he was not allowed to do so. Puyi then got married to two people, namely Wen Shu and Wan Jun. Later part of the movie, the imperial household, including Puyi, was evicted from the Forbidden City as they are not allowed to stay there anymore. This company decided to stay in territory occupied by the Japanese, named Tianjin. Puyi became an emperor once again when the Japanese people appointed him as the emperor of the state of Manchuria. He agreed to the plan knowing that he is just a pawn to the Japanese people to gain the territory places in China. He then became greedy and a traitor to both the cause of the Japanese people and to his own country, China. He used his power to gain back the power he once had before. to be on the top of the food chain as an emperor, of course. People also believe that he was kidnapped to Manchuria. Well, that's wrong because what really happened is Puyi agreed to the plan so he can use this power, as what I said earlier. It too happened and Japan got lost in the war. The Russian troops intercutted the scene and kidnapped Puyi and sent him to prison. The prison, as we can see earlier in the film, the prison governor was hard on him. This is because he was only trying to straighten up the past of Puyi. And one thing, the prison governor is also a major key in completing the character development of Puyi, as he was the one who taught him how to be a regular citizen and not to be an emperor anymore. Puyi how to help himself without disturbing others, to take care of his own personal needs as he is on his own now. Finally, he taught him how to adapt to change. The setting of the story can be a bit confusing to others, especially the time between the shifting from flashback to the present time. Nonetheless, I still understood what the movie is trying to portray, especially due to the editing and lighting it contains, and maybe due to the timestamps. In the present day, it has a bright and almost blue type of light, indicating that the mood of the story is enlightened, and that is what is currently happening. And on the flashbacks, it is sometimes dark or has the color of lemon, indicating that the character is surrounded by the royalty influence as it is in the Chinese tradition. Dark, on the other hand, symbolizes isolation and sensual scenes, just like on their honeymoon and many more. The genre of the film is about history and drama, which is a very good thing. However, there is a problem about that I will discuss later on. So many things that I have loved about the movie, especially the symbolization element, which I commend as a very good thing, which makes the film a good one. This symbolization are the cricket at the end of the film that was kept behind the throne. It is a turn to the earlier part of the film where Puyi admits that he is not a gentleman, for he is not allowed to say and do anything he wants, meaning he is not free. Another one that I have noticed is when Puyi threw his rat outside the Forbidden City. Some may interpret it as he did this because of rage, but I believe that he did this because to symbolize that his hope for venturing the unknown is finally dead, just like the rat. Another thing that I noticed is the character development, which is actually quite impressive because it brings out the emotions and what the characters are portraying too. And as we all know, there is a single character in the story whose character's arc has been developed significantly. Puyi. Puyi's character arc improved greatly throughout the film. Puyi always considered himself the emperor inside or outside the Forbidden City, a person who is always served by the people around him. Over the years he spent in prison, with the help of the prison governor, Puyi became a regular person who takes care of his own personal needs without having to disturb others to do it. This can be seen in the end part of the movie where he pays a ticket to enter the Forbidden City as a normal, regular citizen. Also notice that the film contains vivid and sensual scenes, which I commend as a good one, not because of what you are thinking right now, but because it expressed the realness of the film, so that people can receive the emotions clearly, just like the scene where Armo is breastfeeding Puyi before arriving at the Forbidden City. As I said earlier, the film had a problem showing the audience the accurate history of the film. It was showcased there in the beginning that the Empress Dowager lives a boring life and was then old at the time being. Well, actually, the Empress Dowager CC actually lived a fascinating life and a manipulative one, since she rules from behind and even poisoned her husband before she dies, so no one can make reforms. Since she hates reforms, that is the reason also why she picked Puyi as the new emperor at 3 years old. However, that issue can be set aside since the film is about the last emperor, Puyi. not about the whole history of China on that time being. My final verdict, the movie is a great film actually, as it showcased the Chinese culture and tradition. It was indeed a great film, saying that it had won many Academy Awards during its time. I deeply also recommend the film, especially for those people who are interested in studying Asian culture and the autobiographies of other people, especially the Aisengyoro Puyi. I also recommend it to the students to deepen their understanding about literature and history. On the other hand, I wouldn't recommend it for people to watch the movie just because they saw it and just watch it for no reasons, because it would ruin the precious scenes for them. And also, it is not for entertaining purposes, and I believe for educational only. I personally, unlike other people, did not felt bored while watching the film because it's too lengthy. However, I felt bored while watching the film in the beginning because I completely know nothing about it, so I was totally confused. Nevertheless, I enjoyed the film, so that's why I recommend it to others. Now, if you're asking me, is it a good film? Yes, of course, it's a good one. And bye, dearest sweethearts!